Welcome back to the What the Buddy and Kreese Show. We are your hosts.
I'm Buddy.
And I am Kreese. Sit back, grab your adult beverage, and enjoy your listen. What's up, homie?
Not much. How you doing, man?
I'm alive and breathing.
Yeah, I'm living the dream.
Yeah, trying to stay frosty.
Yeah, not
Even though it's a
not
little
happening.
hard.
Not
Yeah.
working. Not
A
working.
little hard right now down here in the Southwest. Nice
That's
and warm.
right.
And
Maybe we got a cooling trend coming our way.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
I believe it when I see it. That's
so
right.
if there's a cooling trend, I'm going to play the lottery.
That's right.
So anywho, hey, I understand you've got a story that I have not heard.
Yes. Yeah. I've actually
share with us, please.
Yeah. I have had an experience. So a little background on what happened. In about 2002, 2003, I moved with my wife back to Michigan. I say back to Michigan. I was born in Michigan, but
we won't hold that against you.
Yeah, she's from Michigan. There's a humongous Blackhawks, Red Wings thing going on here.
Yeah.
So pay no attention to
sympathies for the Red Wings fan out of Michigan
and the Blackhawks as well. But anyways, so we moved in and got settled in a little town called Monroe. It's basically halfway between Toledo and Detroit. Over there on the east side of the state.
Okay.
And everybody from Michigan, hold up your hand and point out where you're from, because Michigan looks like a mitt. But anyways,
yeah, that it does.
Yeah. So
if you're willing to admit that.
Right. Yeah. Sure. So we bought this house, and this is an older town. A lot of historical. It's the home of Custer. I believe he was actually, if not
I really
born
like
in
the ice cream.
Yeah, right.
No, I'm just kidding.
Custard, not custard. I don't know if he was. I don't know the whole history because I didn't grow up in the school system in Monroe, so I'm not sure if he was.
Thank goodness.
Born there, or if he just settled there,
Sure.
or whatever. But he's interned there, or buried there.
Gotcha.
So. So we bought this house, and it was built in 1918. So we're talking like pre-plumbing. We did have one bathroom inside, of course. We didn't have an outhouse, thank God. But definitely an old world style construction, hardwood floors throughout.
Oh,
like an interior decorator's dream house.
Oh yeah, the older the homes are, the nicer structural or architectural either.
Right. We refinished the floors in the house, and I mean they were just beautiful, just gorgeous tones and woods and all that kind of stuff. So coming with an old house comes in some inherent problems. First of all, you have old world construction,
sure,
sturdy, plaster, lap and plaster instead of drywall. So patching the walls can prove to be difficult. We also had knob and tube wiring in the basement.
Oh, paranormal,
right?
Wonderful experiences.
That is the playground of the paranormal, right there.
Yes, it is.
So a lot of EMF fields and things. I never did any kind of ghost hunting back then, but I wish we would have had an EMF detector at least. I've been curious at times.
Well, back then, how many people actually knew about that? Because it was you had to be really specific in that field and whatnot.
Yeah.
And nobody knew anything regarding this activity of ghost hunting or investigations until all the shows that were on cable started coming out. And
I'm not even sure if Ghost Hunters was on, and that's the first one I remember.
Yeah, most of those shows didn't start till like 2006, 2007, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, so that doesn't surprise me you were unaware of it at that point.
Yeah, so in my mind...
And you're a Red Wings fan, so of course you didn't mention
that. So there's some problems there.
Yeah.
Inherent mental problems.
You said it, I didn't. No,
that's right. So this particular incident, we had our laundry down in the basement. We also had an entire fridge dedicated to beverages, not some adult beverages, mostly sodas and things like the Faygo and that kind of stuff. Town Club and
Ooh, you're dating yourself.
Yeah, well, they still make Town Club. You can actually buy it at the Ace Hardwares out here. Town Club, and you can get Faygo.
Yeah, who else goes to Ace Hardwares? The old people.
Old people.
No, I'm just kidding. I love Ace Hardware.
Right.
Well, I'm old too. So.
Yeah, it's the best. It's the best. So, so I was down in the basement, and we had a what I call a split basement. I believe that is the architectural term for it. So we had a wall that basically cut the entire floor plan of the basement in half.
Gotcha.
With a cinder block wall.
Gotcha.
And it had a doorway, of course. Now we primarily kept to the side of the basement where the stairs were. That's where the laundry was. That's where the refrigerator was, and things like that.
Yeah. It seems like we're doing a lot of construction talk here, ladies and gentlemen. We are, because believe it or not, that does play a role into the paranormal world.
Yeah, it does play. It does, definitely. Yeah, architecture plays a big role in a lot of paranormal activity,
Yes, it
as
does.
Ghostbusters told us. Just kidding.
Who are you gonna call?
That's right. So, so on the other side of the wall and the door, we a little bit of storage. We also had an attic, so we didn't store a lot of stuff in the basement because it wasn't a finished basement.
Sure.
So there was a potential of moisture and things like that.
Well,
so
of
you
course,
have to
you're
pick.
in the Midwest. You got the Great Lakes.
Right.
You know, it's Michigan. That's
Lots of
surrounded by
rain,
all
melting
the time.
snow.
Yeah. Floods.
The whole
So it makes
9,000
sense why you
yards.
wouldn't keep everything down in the basement. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So, so we kept a few things down in there in plastic totes, and all that. So we very rarely went over onto the other side. Now, the walls of the basement were unique in my mind because it was basically each wall was half cinder block and half like river rock type larger stones with like a plaster in the middle. And remember, this house was built in 1918, so this is now 2003, 4, 5 era. All the plaster and stuff is crumbling down because of inferior, techniques of yesteryear and whatnot. So, and to back up just a little bit more, this house that was built in 1918 was also built in an old apple orchard.
Nice.
So yeah, so
a
lot of apple pies. We never got any. And in this area of Monroe was referred to by locals that grew up and lived there as the orchards, and later on turned into the Hollywood district, the Hollywood area, because they had a road called Hollywood.
Gotcha.
That they built over there, and those were the kind of like the more affluent area, so we're in the
rich people.
The rich people. Yeah, the rich people. So, but when it was an apple orchard during the Civil War time, there was a big battle that took place in Monroe at the River Raisin Battlefield. Well, it wasn't called the River Raisin Battlefield during the Civil War.
Sure.
I mean, it's only been named that when they turned it into a state park later on. But there was a Civil War battle there, and the lore of the town spoke of in that apple orchard where our house was built was an encampment for the North, for the Union Army.
Okay.
And with an encampment probably comes the MASH hospital.
I would think,
and probably a kind of a triage morgue type situation too.
Oh yeah, you got the bodies here, and you got all the body parts over there. Yeah,
right. Course. 2 separate piles. Make sure we keep everything separate. Yeah,
especially with the amputations. Yeah.
Right. So
because it was brutal back then.
Oh, it was very brutal. Very. brutal.
Here, chew on this piece of stick while I'm sawing off your leg. Literally, is what the doctors were telling during the war, or during the Civil War.
Some of the men nowadays that we see on social media would have crapped themselves 1,000 times over and ran crying home to their mama.
Yeah.
Compared to the dudes that were back in that era.
Yeah.
Civil War guys are like rock stars compared to what we have to deal with nowadays. But anyways.
Yeah. That's a whole different show, ladies.
That's a whole nother episode. Well, we're not even going to talk about that
That's what I mean. It's a whole different show.
That's
a different podcast.
Yeah. So we've kind of set the scene for the potential of a lot of paranormal activity in that location. You know, we've got an old apple orchard that was a site or in very close proximity to Civil War battlegrounds.
Yes.
That we knew was that particular exact area was an encampment for the Union Army, and yes. all that kind of stuff. Yep.
Then your construction's another aspect, with especially with the EMFs, with the wiring of the house.
Oh, right, yeah.
So
the knob tube.
So you got history. You
got
got specific, very tragic situations that take place, plus the construction of the house.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah, all those things together just make a bouillabaisse of paranormal activity.
Oh yeah.
So back to the incident that happened. So I'm down in the basement, and many times that we went down into the basement, especially after dark, you could feel as you're coming up the stairs. It felt like somebody was behind you.
Yeah, every good horror movie always.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah. Thankfully, we never turned around and saw Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger, right behind us, because that would have probably been the end of that house.
Yeah,
we would have sold
screaming high pitch there.
Yeah,
yep,
sold it the next day. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm on the laundry side. I'm probably digging through the fridge trying to find a rock and rye or a red pop or something like that, and I hear what sounds like small pebbles and dirt hitting the ground, from not too far up. It wasn't super loud, but I mean, definitely something for me to go, hey, what's going on there?
Yeah.
So I decided, and of course this is after dark, so there's a potential there for the feeling as you're going up the stairs, but I decided to go over and find out what was going on, because it didn't sound like it was on the good side of the basement. It sounded like it was on the bad side of the basement, or on the side that we didn't use. So I open the door and flip on the light, and over in the far corner, like the furthest corner from the doorway, I see a big black oval, I'm talking, just so you get a picture of what I'm talking about, in the Disney Cinderella.
Yes.
Or, I think it's Cinderella. Anyways, the big mirror.
Yes.
Mirror on the wall.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I'm seeing this, and this is the blackest black of black. Imagine darkness. The most dark you've ever encountered.
So there's zero light getting through whatsoever.
Right, and almost like all light that is going near that is disappearing, like a black hole.
Yeah, no reflection, just
nothing. Yeah, and then outlining this black area is kind of like a blue flame.
Kind of like when a flame burns at its highest point and it's blue.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a propane.
Yes.
Down closest to the burner.
Okay.
Is a blue flame.
Now I gotta ask when you say that, because those houses are notorious for having gas. Did you have gas in the house?
We had gas in the house.
Okay. So where was the pilot light from where you saw this to where the pilot light's at? In the basement?
Pilot light is on the good side. For the water heater.
So it wasn't on the same side of the basement.
Correct.
You're on the opposite side.
Right, and then the furnace is all self-contained.
Gotcha.
So there was no way to get to the pilot light.
So there's no way to see the pilot light from where you're at, like if it was off in the distance.
Yeah.
Okay.
One time the pilot light went out on the furnace, and I had to pay some kind of a gas guy.
Okay.
Like $300 to come out and relight this. He had to take half the furnace apart to get to where to, and then there's so much shielding and all this kind of.
Yeah, I just want to
like an open flame. Right, exactly.
I just want to eliminate seeing that blue flame. Okay.
Right. Yeah. So there's a blue flame, kind of outlining this oval, and so. I'm like, what is that? Because you look over there and you expect to see the corner. Of the house that you've seen 1,000 times before, So, my mind's racing now. Okay, what was that? And then to further go on, I'm looking at this thing for what felt like an eternity to me, but I'm sure it was only a matter of seconds because my wife wasn't like searching for me or anything. Like I'm staring at this thing for like a week, you know. So you know, a matter of a few seconds, and then it just disappears. Like you know, there's the corner of that I expected to see in the first place.
I got you.
So, you know, as further research later on down the road, I mean, I wasn't really into paranormal stuff too much then, but I mean, I'm definitely thinking that that I saw it had to have been a portal of some sort.
Well, it somewhat sounds like it, definitely, based on your description.
Right. So, but that, I mean, that just begs, well, was there something coming in or going out?
What was coming in, number one. Number two, what was in there if it was going out?
Right. And where in the hell were they going?
Yeah. So
and why can't we go?
So I know you talked about having the strange feeling like somebody's watching you or something's watching you.
Sure.
Did you ever see any shadows in the corner of your eyes that you just were dismissive of? Just thinking, oh, it's just my eyes, I'm just tired or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you see any of that? Did you see any, just anything?
Yeah.
Other than
we never really had
feeling?
any kind of shadow figures or anything in the basement, other than the portal itself. I did have upstairs. This was a 2-story house with an attic and a basement.
Gotcha.
So we're talking second floor is where the bathroom was. And one night I was standing at the sink brushing my teeth.
Okay.
And out
Glad
of the corner.
It wasn't the commode.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Well, they were right next to each other,
Well,
so it could have very well been. But I never went to the bathroom with the door open. I brushed my teeth routinely with the door open.
And we appreciate that.
Thank you. Right. Everybody appreciates that. So out of the corner of my eye, I see this figure walking up the stairs and heading like towards our room. And this figure was not a shadow figure, because I could definitely make out that it was a white ghostly apparition. In Victorian garb.
Okay, which would make sense with the history of the area.
Flowing dress, right, exactly.
Definitely.
Could have very well have been a nurse or something like that, So, I mean, related, unrelated, I don't know. I don't really have an explanation for it. I do know that, anytime you encounter an area that has a high EMF, electromagnetic fields, that can create.
Sure.
And since I was down there for a while, rummaging through the refrigerator, I probably did a load of laundry or something, or grabbed whatever, the basket. So I was down there and exposed to this knob and tube wiring right above our head. Ran, through the ceiling rafters of the basement and the floorboards of the first floor.
Yep.
So, I mean, I would like to think that it was definitely something that we can't explain. I do know that portals are a thing, mirrors being a portal,
gotcha.
So, definitely very kind of, not scary, but definitely a creepy experience.
Oh, for sure. Especially when you don't know what it is. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You don't know if something's coming in or is it going out, or,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Especially now that I research it now after the fact, hell, it could have been who knows what, all kinds of stuff could have been a whole army of crap.
You're 100%
coming through.
correct. So my question for you is, you want to take a trip back to Monroe and go knock on that house door and say, hey, can we go inspect your basement?
Yeah, we probably should. That would be a really kick-ass idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So set up some equipment and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
know.
I mean, it's not a super creepy story, but definitely an experience that I had that years later, what was going on? What actually was happening there?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it makes you wonder,
Right.
So I'm just glad you didn't get transported to some weird dimension with a bunch of weird aliens and or bugs or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, or bug aliens, or any iteration of whatever the hell it could be somewhere else. Yeah. So.
Well, that's why you keep your eyes open, and that's why we look at all these stories and these experiences to see what we can try to, see. It's like, oh no, that's A, B, and C. That's not paranormal, or if it is, it is. So
right.
That's the fun of exploring.
It's definitely paranormal in the fact that it's not normal.
Exactly.
It's
exactly.
You know, it's a WTBNK moment. You know.
Exactly, and that's what paranormal gets thrown around. That people
Right.
think it's ghosts, Bigfoot, UFOs, hauntings, whatever you want to call it.
Chupacabra.
When in fact,
Yeah.
paranormal could be something. Hey, you know what? I have a flat tire today. Well, guess what? That's not normal.
Right.
You know?
Exactly.
So we just have to look at all these circumstances and try
Sure.
to identify what it is, if possible, and otherwise, let's see what kind of fun we can have with this investigation. So, well, thank you, sir. Appreciate the story.
Problem.
It's fantastic. So, why don't you tell everybody where they can find us at and reach us?
Yeah. So we got an email account set up. It's WTBandK@gmail.com. You can also get us on all of the, well, no, I won't say all of the, but most of the social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at WTBandK. And that's pretty much it. You can always please drop us a line, share your stories with us, even if you don't want us to discuss them on the show.
Exactly.
We're always interested to read or even be able to sit down and talk to you about the experiences that you have, and maybe try to help you get some kind of closure.
Yep, that works. And remember, we'll always, if you don't want us to share it on the podcast, we won't.
Yeah, exactly. Just let us know. Hey, right.
So,
full disclosure. Don't share it.
Excellent. Sir, pleasure as always.
Yes, definitely.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of What the Buddy and Kreese. Remember, everybody, it's still summertime, it's still hot, so stay frosty.
This has been a Loyal Family Productions and Entertainment joint.